Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast. We have an incredible guest for you today. He's an industry thought leader, a technology evangelist. He's got a wealth of knowledge in financial services and specifically the mortgage industry. Please help me welcome Mike Kaysen. He is the founder and CEO of Silverworks Solutions. Mike, welcome to the show.
Michael, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
It is great to have you. So, Mike, as we get going, first, let's tell everyone a little bit about your background. You've got an incredible background. You've got a ton of experience. Let our listeners know a little bit more about some of the things you've done in financial services.
Sure. Yeah, gladly. So I've been in mortgage about 25 years, maybe a little longer, kind of losing count. And kind of three parts to my career in mortgage. I was a consultant in the mortgage industry for a long time. And, like a lot of people, the mortgage industry is, it kind of pulls you in, and it's an intriguing industry and challenging. And so it pulled me in for sure. And then, after the consulting stage of my career, worked on the lender side as the COO of a couple different mortgage companies, and really great experience there. And then I've been in the FinTech space for 7-8 years now. So, really three different distinct parts of my career in mortgage, and, really good mix, nice variety of experience.
Well, and I think that variety and that mix really helps you because you've been on the side of the fence of the lender when they're making a decision to purchase software. What should they invest in? How do they cut costs? How do they maximize opportunity? So I'm very excited to speak with you today because I think that background really lends itself very well to this discussion and really helping people in today's market. So let's briefly talk about today's market conditions. We know they're tough. We don't have to beat that drum. One little silver lining that I did see recently is at the beginning of the year, the IMBs were spending over $13,000 to produce a loan. It dropped now to $11,000. They're still losing money, so that's not good. But give me a little bit of your take, since you've been on the lender side, of some of the current market conditions and where should lenders be spending some of their time and effort to address those situations?
Sure. Yeah. As you said, everyone really understands the context and kind of where we're at in the, this market cycle. Cost reduction is still a huge theme for everyone. You mentioned the benchmarks, I guess, and kind of where we're at, and it looks like the MBA benchmark in Q1 was 2,000 and something to the negative. So, pretty substantial losses there. Very hard to take that kind of loss. Q2 had some improvement. Q2 was 500 and some dollars, still to the negative, but relative to 2,000 per closed loan, big improvement. So, obviously lenders are making the tough decisions around right sizing and cost containment. And heading in a better direction, but still a ways to go here. So I think everyone's just waiting for that next wave, really.
Yeah. Well, as we talk about right sizing and cost containment, what is technology's role in helping solve for some of that? Excuse me. I apologize for that sneeze.
Yeah, bless you. No, obviously we're a tech firm, and from what we see, technology can be very helpful in cost reduction. I think lenders have to be intelligent consumers of that technology. There's a lot of mortgage tech out there. It's increasingly fragmented. So it can help reduce costs, but it's up to the lender to be smart in how they're selecting and applying that mortgage tech to really drive costs down.
Well, exactly, because I think all you can do is, if it's just the shiny object syndrome and let's dabble in this and let's do this, that really doesn't help improve efficiencies. It doesn't drive down the cost. But I think there's also some exciting tech, and this is what I definitely want to dive into with you, is bots, AI, machine learning. You can put a lot of different tags on this, but I think there is a lot of interesting technology out there now that is really helping address this in a meaningful way that it's proven people are significantly reducing costs. So talk to me first just about bots, and then we'll get into what Silverworks is doing. But give me kind of your view on how bots can really help drive down those costs, especially on the back end of the process.
Right. No, so that's a great point. The shift in technology is really the reason we founded Silverworks about 7 years ago. We noticed that there was a new set of technology. We refer to them as the cognitive tool set, but things like process automation, intelligent automation, machine learning. 7 years ago when we started the company, most of that was unheard of in the mortgage space. Mortgage was focused on the traditional tech stack. And the reason we founded the company is we thought there was a sea change coming for that new technology, being applied successfully in mortgage. Fast forward, that has really come to pass. We kind of pioneered the space at Silverwork, but now it's pretty much mainstream kind of topics. Maybe not mainstream in terms of full adoption, but all lenders are aware of it. They're probably at least piloted many of these tools, if not deployed them. So, we think tech is really, that category of tech has really showed up to the party and represents one of the more encouraging, things on the horizon for, really driving cost reduction as well as other benefits. I know we're really hammering the cost reduction point because it's, top of mind with everyone in the industry right now. But, that kind of tech really drives, improvements in cycle time, really exciting things you can do with customer experience. But, cost reduction is obviously, the path to achieving a lot of these other things or paying for these other things.
Right. Well, and I think one of the other things is resource allocation. And when you can leverage technology, that when the market does improve, and you and I have both been in the industry 25 plus years, it's not always going to be the struggle that we're in now. The market is going to shift. And one of the biggest challenges that we have is the industry has historically been, I think Jonathan coined this phrase from Ellie Mae of, we use human spackle. Right? When times are tough, we start cutting people. When times get better, and we know they are going to get better, people just throw human bodies at it. Where can technology help where you don't have to keep going and riding that mortgage roller coaster of hire, fire, hire, fire? Talk to me a little bit about that resource allocation for kind of the next phase of, whether it's in 6 months, 12 months, we know the market's going to improve. So talk to me about that, Mike.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, in fact, interesting. We're actually seeing some lenders now making staffing decisions around, leveraging technology for more efficiency and kind of heading off a potential increase in labor down the road. So, that next wave that we're referring to, I think, many lenders that we're seeing are, not only hoping but relying upon technology to alter what would have been their base case staffing decisions for growing the business when the volume returns. So we think obviously that's the right way to view it. I think it also gives lenders kind of courage of their conviction to really put that tech in place and be successful with it, because they're using, we use the word digital labor rather than manual labor, but they're really betting on that digital labor as the way that they're going to grow their business in the future. And obviously the winning strategy to think of it that way.
And with the technology, they can be much more scalable, but now they're managing their cost already because they know what the cost is. And so when they start growing and they don't have to throw more bodies at it, obviously they can increase profitability. You mentioned a term and a phrase that I'm starting to hear a lot more of: intelligent automation. We hear bots. Give some examples of what is intelligent automation, or what are some of the bots doing? Is it back office closing? Is it ordering services? What are some of the bots doing, and where's some of the greatest lift that lenders are getting?
Right. So, we've organized our product set around the roles that you would find in mortgage. Our product set right now is positioned on the origination space. And so, our products go from application through closing. And so if you think of any role that you would hire a person to perform in origination space, we have a bot that aligns with that role. So we refer to it as either role-based or persona-based orientation to the product set. We felt that it was important to build the product set that way so that it was intuitive to lenders. You mentioned I was on the lender side, so I get it. It has to be intuitive and make sense in a lender's business. And so lenders can understand that, they have loan officer assistants, processor assistants. And so they hire to those roles, and that's the organizing principle for our product set as well. So we find that it makes the adoption easier, to not have the technology be incongruent with the way, that the workflow or the process or the way the lender runs their businesses. So it's very congruent with how the lender thinks about things. It also facilitates a cost comparison because lenders understand what they pay for those roles. And so when they plug in our digital labor, it makes for a straightforward apples to apples comparison, on the ROI and the cost reduction standpoint.
I love that. And it makes so much sense. So many times I think people plug in technology to do a certain task or a certain function, but they don't really look at that role or that persona. And I love your comment about, well, if you know that persona and you normally hire for that persona, then you know what a processor costs. You know what an LOA costs. You know what a post-closer costs. And if you can then plug in a bot, and the bot can infinitely scale, hey, there's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 8 hours in the work week for a human being to do that. I think you can start really seeing the big uplift in the financial gain, not just the cost savings, which very important in today's market, but when that market turns, now you can really start restoring a lot of that profitability. Mike, you've talked about a lot of great stuff. You and I could continue to talk about this discussion for a while. What's on the horizon for Silverworks? What's next? Where do you guys see, some of the most important innovation coming for the space?
Yep. So where we're at with the product set is, the product set's been around for a while. I mentioned we pioneered this space. We feel our products are industrial strength. They've been through various market cycles. So the ability for our automation to do the heavy lifting work is clearly in place. Where we're focused right now is putting more intelligence into the product set, making our bots smarter. And, what that means really for us right now is to make the bots able to collaborate with the end users. So, we have our bots connected for bot to bot workflow. We're working on, better bot to human workflow and making the bot something that the end user, the processor, the underwriter can work very collaboratively with, and have the bot be human-like in terms of its response and interaction with the end users. So it's an exciting stage of the evolution of the product set for us.
Well, and it certainly is. I've got to see some of the technology in action. I've actually spoken to some of your clients, so I know that they're getting great uplift in using the product. For those who have not had a chance to see your product, what's the best way they can get a hold of you? What's the best way they can find out more about Silverworks Solutions?
Yeah, no, that's great. No, we'd love to have a chat with lenders that are interested in this kind of technology. So our website's probably the best place, silverwork-solutions.com. And, we can, have a dialogue about the lender's goals and what their challenges are, and, share our experience and our product set with them.
Well, and as I see you guys out there and getting more traction, and I see articles and different opportunities like this, your tagline always catches my attention. I hear a lot of people talk about it. So share with us your tagline as we wind down this episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, the tagline for us is relatively new, and it's the tagline is technology that's brilliantly human. And, we love it because that human metaphor we think is, the future for this kind of technology and automation. And, we think it's a great tagline. So represents, where we're heading with the product set, and a little bit of a kind of a counterintuitive thing, because when you use the word technology, people don't always think of the word human to go along with that. And so, but it's, it's the right way to think about it. It's meaningful for us, and as we kind of steer our products in that direction.
Well, for our lenders listening, go check it out. Take a look at the technology that is brilliantly human. Mike, I can't thank you enough for being a guest on this episode of the
Thanks, Michael.